So when you ask me about stagnation, especially in regards to relationships, it's really a beautiful question, and it's hard to answer because every relationship is different, and every relationship goes through seasons of stagnation differently. Some relationships are stagnant in the area of affection, others are stagnant in the area maybe of finances, others are stagnant in the area of goals and plans and dreams and careers. And maybe sometimes you have found yourself in such a place where you feel like there is an area in your relationship that is not moving forward. So recently I started researching on this topic about stagnation, and I found out that stagnation is really something that can happen to anyone. Any relationship can go through this season. A season whereby everything was just on a high, then all of a sudden everything goes down and everything now plateaus, and you're there for a very long time. It is, for many, it's not a big deal if it's for a day or two or even a week. But when this season start persisting more than a week, more than a month, more than a year, then it start becoming a burden in the relationship. You start feeling like you're drifting apart from each other. You start feeling like the conversation is not the same that like it used to be, or the conversation is very shallow, and you're just talking about, maybe if you have children, you're just talking about children, you're just talking about bills, and you never really sit down and talk about deeper things in your relationship. And that season, you can excuse it for some time, but when it starts becoming, a year or two, then it becomes a burden. And there are several effects of this prolonged season of stagnation. One is that you start finding, comfort in other people. You start enjoying other people's conversation more than you enjoy your spouse's conversation. For most of us men, you tend to not want to go back home early because you want to spend more time with other people other than your own family. And it's something really that, for many of us, we've never thought about it. But we have found ourselves in that season, and we say, oh, it's a season, it will come to an end. The problem of that season, it will come to an end. But it might come to an end having damaged your relationship, or having messed up some, routine or momentum in your relationship. You might kick back, but the conversation is never the same. You might kick back, and maybe the intimacy is never the same. You might kick back, and maybe the plans that you now have are no longer the same. You no longer feel the same. You no longer trust the way you used to trust. And it's hard. I hear you, it's hard. I remember one time we were in a season whereby we had not gone on dates for a while, and for us, we really value our dates, and we realized that our conversation with each other were changing, were shifting. We were getting angry more often, we were very edgy, and we realized that the reason why we are in this place is because there's an area in our lives that we have not paid attention to. And with stagnation, friends, you need to be able to pay attention to some things. You need to ask yourself, which area in our relationships have we neglected, and are we experiencing the effect? And even though you're not experiencing the effect right now, maybe right now you can excuse it that he doesn't have time or she doesn't have time. Yeah, for some time you can excuse that. But when it starts becoming a long and a prolonged season, it will affect something in your relationship. And at the end of it all, you might realize you'll come out of it, but things will not be the same. I don't know if you've ever felt that way. Let me know in the comment below if this is something you've experienced before. You find there's a couple that have struggled, with a man who doesn't have a job for some time. And it's okay for some time, it's okay. You can sit down and say, oh, I don't have a job, it's okay, I'm working hard, I'm trying. But when that season is prolonged for a while, you realize that it affects even the conversation. It affects even you as a man, the confidence you have to ask for, we need to do this because, you're not bringing anything in the table. And there's nothing wrong, friends, with you not being able to bring something in the table. If genuinely you really don't have a job, or genuinely you have tried to work hard, but either it's genuine or it's ungenuine, then you will find that it will start affecting your relationship, your own self-confidence, that I need us to do this, I need us to fix the car, but I cannot keep on asking. It's like you're borrowing money from your wife, and especially if you're not doing money together, this becomes a whole different story, because you'll have to borrow money. When you want to go and shave, you have to ask for your wife for money, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but for some time it will get into your heart. It starts into your mind, you start thinking about it, and then at the end of it all, it will get into your heart, and it will affect your relationship. Or maybe it's an area of intimacy. You haven't been going in that direction for a while now. Maybe you're married and you haven't been having sex for some time, and slowly you think it's okay, but you realize that genuinely there is a struggle inside. And there are physical struggle, we understand, but the biggest struggle are internal struggles. Struggles whereby you start, suspecting, and many relationships die because of suspicion. It's not even the truth. It's just suspecting that maybe your partner is, getting it from somewhere else, or maybe your partner is finding their own way of satisfying themselves. And when you start suspecting that, you realize that it will start bringing a strain into your relationship. So you need to sit down, and this is my advice to couples, that sit down and look at your relationship and say, what areas in our relationship are we stuck? What areas have we neglected? And is it just because of the season, or is it that we have not paid attention to it? Because, and I've said, and I'll mention this again, some things you get stagnant in some area because it's a season. It's a season. Maybe it's a season where your wife is unwell and there's some things they cannot do. Or your husband, has moved from one business into another and the business hasn't peaked yet. Yes, that is a season. And it's okay. You can understand it. You can actually work hard to build together, because it's something you cannot control. But if it's something you look at it and you realize that it's something that you have been neglecting, then I suggest to you, my friend, that you need to pay attention to it. Because if you don't pay attention to where there is tension, that tension will break everything. That tension will drift you apart. That tension will bring forth something that you'll not be able to manage it. So this conversation of stagnation is something that I'm really passionate about. I'm thinking about it more and more, even as I continue to research on it. Actually, I am preaching this sermon in our church in Nairobi Chapel, Syokimau, this month, and it's a brilliant opportunity for me to continue digging deeper, because I want my relationship to be the best relationship that it can be. And I want to be able to help as many people as possible to have the best relationship it can be. And as we keep on saying here at Honey Let's Talk, when you talk, you make everything better. When you talk, you make things better. So go out there, meet with your partner, and sit down and look at areas in your relationship where you need to put more effort and to put attention. And be genuine with each other, that this place I'm feeling adrift. This place I'm feeling we are losing it. This place I'm feeling like we need to think about it more. Otherwise, let me know in the comment what you think about this conversation, and if you've ever been in a stuck place in a relationship or in your marriage or in any other area of your life, and how it has affected your relationship. Please let me know on the comment below. Otherwise, thank you for joining me today. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, share it with a friend, and let's continue having this conversation. And we say, honey, let's talk, because when we talk, we make it better.